All right, we're gonna ride a couple miles.
So, welcome to my YouTube channel, JJ Has Motion. We're gonna talk about running. We're gonna talk about biking. We're gonna talk about hiking because I live out here on the island of Oahu. Now, I bought this beautiful Cervelo Caledonia about 2 weeks ago, and since I think I've ridden about 156 miles or so, give or take. Yesterday I did my first 50 miler. What can I say so far about riding the bike is one, a good friend of mine said you shouldn't clip in until about a month later. Now, me being me, I'm like, I'm a pro. Not that I'm a pro, but like I learn on, I catch on fast, I learn quickly, I should be okay. Shifting this bike isn't hard, but I'm still finding that I'm having issues like on hills. So where I currently live, there are not a lot of hills, but if I drive into town, there are a lot of hills. Yesterday was my first time like really being on a hill, and I was like riding behind somebody who also was a cyclist, and I just like hit the wrong gear on my front derailleur and dropped myself off to a lower gear or a higher gear, I should say. So I was just spinning going up the hill, and I couldn't get myself back together. So that's reason number one why I don't need to be clipped in at the moment, because I really need to make sure that I know what I'm doing when it comes to my gears. Saddle pain, a lot of people say when they first get on their bike, they have some saddle pain and they get used to it. The first day that I rode it, and I think I rode it 22-ish miles, I didn't have my bibs in yet, but I had some padded shorts for cycling, and that I had like just in a drawer somewhere that I pulled out because I, rode bikes in the past. Put those on road, horrible saddle pain the next day. I'm talking about I could barely sit down. But once my bibs came in, and I rode a couple times, I haven't had nearly that same pain. It'll be like tender the next day, but it's never like, oh my gosh, I can't sit down, I can't walk. If water touches it, it burns. I haven't had any of those issues. It's like the more I ride, the better I feel. And then it's almost like my body has gotten used to the rubbing and the feeling. So I haven't even like no pain or anything like that. So the more time I'm spending in the saddle, the more time like my body is adjusting to how the bike feels. One thing that I can say that's a little bit different from cycling to running or running to cycling is that I have been hungry. A lot of times I'll do a morning workout and then I'll do an afternoon workout. So my morning workouts have been runs or lifts, and my afternoon workouts have been cycling. I want to break this brand new bike that I just got out. I just got in. And y'all, when I say that afternoon cycle, I think there was one day after work, I burned 1,700 calories on this bike. And I think that was the day I did 35 miles. You can blow through calories. But with that being said, for you to spend 90 plus minutes on a bike, now I would say you definitely need to fuel. I'm talking about whether it's carbs, carb gels, sodium, snacks, Snickers, cakes, cookies, pies, oh my, whatever you need. But you need some type of carb source in there or you will hit the wall. There was the first day I actually rode this bike, I rode it 20 miles, but I'm like, man, I'm in, half marathon shape, I'm good. Sitting down, rolling my legs, I should be okay. I won't hit the wall. Y'all, at mile 20, I hit the wall. And I'm like, it's been 90 minutes and I'm already hitting the wall. So that just let me know, like, you have to take it seriously. It is just like running when you talk about fueling. Even if not a little bit more strenuous when it comes to like your fueling. So, I think that's another thing that you can say about cycling. Cycling is expensive. You got these bibs, you got jerseys, you got accessories, you got bike lights, you got nutrition, you got helmets, you got shades, you got mounts, you got shoes, you got shocks, headphones. You got all these things that go into cycling. And then on top of that, to say that you want to ride for a long amount of time, you have to eat. And I ain't talking about no pitter patter eating. So like yesterday I rode 50 miles, right? I had a carb mix in my bottle cage. And then I had 2 Rice Krispie treats, 4 gels, and some salt tabs on me, right? Pay attention to the story. I went through both Rice Krispie treats. I went through the whole carb gel, liquid carb gel that was in my bottle cage. And then I went through 2 gels. And the only reason why I didn't go through the other 2, because I know the gels are expensive. I didn't want to go through them. So I stopped and I got them outside. And it was good. It was so good. It gave me a break to get off the bike. And I ate it. And then I was feeling a little, not queasy, but I was feeling like a little, all right, I'm heading into the danger zone of crashing again. And you know what cyclists love? Coca-Cola. So I stopped by the gas station, got a Coca-Cola, and ran in there and grabbed one, chugged it, put it in my, well, I didn't chug the whole thing. I chugged about half, put it in my jersey, rolled back into town, riding, stopped again, about halfway into town, chugged the rest of it, threw it away. Always make sure you throw away your trash. And then rode into town, hitting water. And honestly, I think the Coke helped. When I finally made it into the parking lot at mile 50, now it could be because I was so happy that I hit 50 miles, but I think I could have kept riding. I was fueled up enough to that point to where if I needed to do another 10 miles, I think I could have made it to 60. So 100K is in my future. I'm willing to go the distance on that. Or if we're talking about triathlon stats, I think I could have gotten off the bike and then ran. I was telling a friend that I felt good enough to where even if I would have got off the bike, which it was late, it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock, it was finna get dark, but I could have ran, I know, at least 2 to 3 miles confidently, just based off of how I was feeling. And I think that has a lot to do with nutrition. So, is biking expensive? Yes. But what I will say is I've had conversations just in the past 2 weeks with like just being out cycling, the bike being on top of the car, or like just talking about biking with some of my friends where they're like, I'm having these conversations that I probably wouldn't have had about running. Not to say that I wouldn't have had these conversations because of running, but the bike has been a head turner. Like, not to say that I have a $12,000 bike, because I don't, but people want to know about it. I was at the water fountain and this kid came up and he was running. He was like, man, how long have you been road biking? I want to get one. How much was it? We got to chatting. I was at the gas station last night getting some food for after the ride. And this gentleman came up to me. He was like, hey, I'm 81 years old. I did an Ironman in my 30s. And I was telling him that maybe I want to do an Ironman, and we got to talking about the mount. He said, man, when you pulled up, I was shocked. I was like, what? How did that mount get on top of how did that bike get on top of the car? So a lot of times when we run and we're out in public, we got our headphones on, we got shades on, unless we're running with a group, people really don't speak to us. But when I'm on that bike, people are going to speak to me. People are going to look. A lot of times I end up having more conversations with the bike versus me just out and about running. The next thing I'll say, so the route yesterday was super hilly, but the headwind out here in Hawaii is different. When I say different, it is different. The headwind almost made me want to quit. The headwind is crazy when you're going downhill and it's still slowing you down. I am fighting for my life through the headwind. As soon as I made it to my destination, turned around, and I felt the tailwind, I said, oh yes, finally, this is what I've been missing. This is what I've been needing. And it wasn't as hard. It probably took me less time to get back to where I was going than it took me to get there. So I may have to start riding early in the mornings, because a lot of time here, because of the trade winds that blow across the island, they'll be real calm in the morning time. You don't notice it in the morning time, but at 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the afternoon, they were out blowing me all across the bike, all across the road. I will say that Hawaii is a very bikeable city, a town, an island. bikes are everywhere. I see road bikes everywhere. And it's not just because I have a road bike now. I saw them before. But like there is a deep community of cyclists out here. If you ever get the chance to like come out here for a race or come out here for vacation and you want to pack your bike and bring it, I definitely think you should. It's one of those one-of-one places where you can ride at. I think it's safe, you know, in every location there were probably accidents where maybe a cyclist gets hit, but the lanes are big enough out here. The lanes are big. A lot of people know that cyclists are here. Bring your bike light, you know, your tail light and your headlight. But yeah. So the last thing I'll talk about and I'll touch on before we end the video today is that I don't have a bike computer yet. I've been doing everything on my Apple Watch Ultra 3. And from the second and the third ride, I saw the value in a bike computer. Whenever I'm pulling up to like a stoplight, and of course you got traffic around you, or maybe you are in traffic because you know cyclists can take a lane. Sometimes I just want to get out of there to get out of the way of the cars, and I forget to unpause my watch. I know that if I had a bike computer, it would stop on its own, it would start on its own. There are certain times where I feel like I'm going fast, and I want to look at the speed, but I gotta like fumble through my Apple Watch, and I already see it. Like I need to get a bike computer. However, I also like cycling off of the field, like listening to the gears, knowing what gear I'm in. Like I'm learning now. I'm really truly learning the bike, but in the future, I'm definitely gonna get a bike computer. It's just one of those things that I think you have to get if you're talking about doing multiple miles a week, especially if you're talking about doing a triathlon of some sort. It's needed. It has to be done. And I see the benefit from it. You know, I'm one of those people where I like to do my research on something before I purchase it, but I also want to see what life is like without it if I can. And what that does for me is that gives me the chance to see like, all right, is this purchase really valuable or can I do without it? Could I do without a bike computer? Yes. Would it be inconvenient? Very inconvenient? Also, yes. So it's one of those things where convenience, it weighs a lot more. So you got to go with that. But overall, man, I am enjoying it. I have been cycling and we're going to keep this show on the road.